We're back for some more mouth-watering cricketing action. My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. Looking forward to Rajasthan taking on Punjab. And of course, this is a fixture that has a certain kind of history about it. But the ground has more recent history about it, is what interests us even more. We saw a slew of sixes, 33 in all, the last time a game was played here a few days ago. And we are back in Sharjah for this particular fixture. Let's just remind you what the game is. It is, of course, Punjab taking on Rajasthan. And joining me, I've got Harsha Bhogle and Joy Bhattacharjya. Gentlemen, welcome again. Harsha, I'm going to come straight to you. Sharjah, everyone's talking about sixes. What can we expect today?
A couple of fielders out near the hardware shops for a start, because that's where those guys were collecting the balls yesterday. But it's good to have you back too, Gautam. Back to proper clothes again, not wearing all those sort of Dennis the Menace goes to church kind of clothes. So that's good to see. But you can see already in the way the teams are structured that they're wary of bowlers having a bad day with the dew. And so there's an extra bowling option. So Rajasthan have picked an extra bowling option. So you can see they're worried. They're playing the conditions there. Steve Smith has already said he's going to chase because of the dew. So there, a lot of the decision making is centered around the around the conditions. So yes, I mean, in Sharjah, the ball keep vanishing, and then suddenly you go to Dubai and the ball keep getting caught at long on.
Yeah, just a reminder, as Harsha did give all of you, that is Steve Smith has won the toss, and we're not going to have any more of what David Warner did. We're going back to the formula of bowling first, Joy. So
you know what happened?
Yeah.
You know what happened there? The team sheets that were distributed initially actually had Sandeep Sharma playing. So I think somewhere between the team sheet being made, and he must have made a quick had a quick change of mind, and I don't know. So he suddenly announced Khalil is playing. So nobody knew what the team was.
So Joy, win toss and win match. It's 1 out of 7 so far.
So first, please, can Michael Slater please ask both captains for the teams and the changes, please? It's good for all of us out here. Even today, he forgot to ask Punjab. I mean, look, if you're going to go out there, the toss is what the third umpire tells you about anyway. The match referee tells you about. And if you're not going to tell us changes, it makes life very difficult for everyone following the game. But, that aside, I think that's the point that, is this match going to be about sixes? The short answer is yes, it is going to be about sixes. Are the batsmen scared about it? Are the bowlers scared about it? Yes, they are. Rajasthan is playing the extra bowler, and at some point in time, despite Michael Slater, we'll actually find out what the 11 that Punjab is playing today, which will be very useful. But yeah, I mean, going by this early reaction, it's interesting. It definitely seems that Steve Smith has that game plan in mind where he needs more bowling options.
Well, I can tell you, before we come to the teams, gentlemen, since you started me off on that, and Joy, you gave me a cue of saying it's not very good for us when we don't know the teams. It's particularly not good for those who want to make changes to their My 11 Circle team. I can tell you that. So instead, what we'll do is let's give all of you a nice reminder of what you need to do. You need to get onto My 11 Circle, download the app, of course, pick your team, 11 players, get a captain, get a vice captain, and try and imagine in your mind the kind of team Dada would pick if he was a selector. And there you have it. That's a very simple way of playing. But of course, you've got to be helped by the fact that we'll give you the information. So hang on with those Punjab players. We will give you that last minute information as well as our own tips. But let's get to the first of the teams that we do know, because at least Steve Smith was generous in talking about that. So let's talk about the Rajasthan Playing 11 first. Oh, we've got the Punjab Playing 11. Fair enough. That's good. There you go.
Just got it. Just got it on the Cricbuzz app. See, that's what you need to be doing. You need to be on the Cricbuzz app.
Well, for those of you who thought Chris Gale might sneak in, the answer is no. He's not in there. He was just having a few warm-ups. So it is Maxwell, Puran, Nisham, and Cottrell as their 4 foreigners. So pretty much looking to replicate what they've done in previous games, Harsha.
Yeah, now look at this difference in the two sides already. Look at the Rajasthan Playing 11. Look how many seam-up bowlers. Jaydev Unadkat, Ankit Rajput, Tom Curran, Jofra Archer. That's 4 bona fide seam-up bowlers. Then Shreyas Gopal and Rahul Tewatia with Riyan Parag, who can bowl a bit. Last game, they had Yashasvi Jaiswal, and Tewatia was one of the main bowlers. They're probably worried about him being a 4-over bowler, him and Parag. So they're happy to back that batting. Uthappa Uthappa will bat 4, maybe Parag 5, Tewatia 6. They're happy to go with that order. Whereas you look at Punjab again, if you can get the Punjab side up, they're playing exactly the same side, which means they are playing maybe one bowler short. Look, by comparison, they've got Shami and Cottrell, Neesham as their third seamer, and then Murugan Ashwin, Ravi Bishnoi. That's it. They've got Glenn Maxwell as their 6th. So they're approaching this game in different ways.
Yeah, and we've had a lot of discussions, Joy, about the specialist quicker bowlers being a success in this tournament. So obviously, Steve Smith's taken a leaf out of that book. KL Rahul, Kumble and company probably holding on and trying to look at the options. But at least unlike MS Dhoni, they do have an option in Glenn Maxwell if they want to go to him. They do have a 6th option. But let's talk about the batting for a moment, because the talk of the town has to be the man who's come back into that Rajasthan team, Jos Buttler. We were waiting for it, and maybe we shouldn't build up too much from their point of view. But Joy, big asset. Huge
asset. And the way he's performed again, the England-Australia players, the great thing about them and the CPL players, they are busy, they have been playing, they are in form. And he was missed in the previous match. Here, the responsibility is even more, because literally what they've said is, look, Steve Smith has told him it's you, me, Sanju Samson, and Robin Uthappa. This is literally it. Riyan Parag is our 5th, batting at 5. Riyan Parag, there are teams who think 7 is high for him. Batting Riyan Parag at 5 means you're putting a huge amount of trust in your top 4. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because I feel that personally that Rajasthan team can only do well if those top 3, top 4 perform, and they believe that, giving themselves extra depth doesn't make any point. Rather give themselves more bowling options and let the senior international batsman take responsibility. So that's the way he's going about it. It's not a bad approach, because see, remember, Rajasthan, even with Ben Stokes not being there, their balance being what it is, they are a team who will have to moneyball a bit. They are a team who will have to take these radical decisions. But it's really interesting in a time when, KKR played Nikhil Nayak at 8, Riyan Parag batting at 5 is like, yeah, it's brave, and I like it. It sets up the game very well.
Joy, Robin is a friend of all of ours and a proper KKR guy, so we'll be nice to him. But I think it's really, in all fairness, at this stage in Robin's career, and given the runs behind him in the last 12 months, I think it's safe to say they're relying on the top 3 rather than the top 4. Robin, as we all know, is a fantastic player. He's still a fantastic player. We'll get another clue today, and if he is, that's fantastic, because I love the purity, the cleanliness of his shot making. It just looks so clean. But I think there's a huge load on that top 3. And if the side batting first makes 200, then it might be under stress.
Yeah, well, he's made that call. He's made that call to chase. But when you talk about Jos Buttler, and before we see his numbers, Harsha, you'd have to feel for Killer Miller. We talked about it yesterday. This is the only way he can get back into the team. One, doesn't even face a ball, and he's back out.
The option would have been, if they'd backed their bowlers, that Miller stays and that Ankit Rajput comes in for Yashasvi, and for Buttler. I guess Karan goes out. Everything else same. Instead of Karan, Miller stays in the side, but they clearly want that extra depth option with Archer. Yeah, it's terrible. Can you imagine if he doesn't get another game? He goes back home and the family says, "How was the IPL? I did play, but I didn't face a ball and I got run out." Nah, he'll get another game, hopefully.
But he could at least say that he got as up close and personal to the turf more than anyone else did. If they have to do a pitch report, go and ask David Miller, because he smelt it, he's felt it, he's dug it up.
I'll tell you, we are so mean. We're making fun of people, but that's true. He did.
But we were with Dooley last evening and we concluded that, look, it's fair play. They'll have to go to him and say, look, Buttler was the first choice had he been available from day one.
But that's fair. When David Miller was on the flight coming here, he would have known he's not in the first choice 11, that those are the 4. He might have thought, look, with Ben Stokes, are they going to replace Stokes with a batsman or Stokes with a bowling all-rounder? And that was his chance of getting into the side. They've obviously gone with Karan as the bowling all-rounder. Remember, Karan can hit the ball too. So if there's only 3 or 4 overs left when he comes in, he's not a bad batsman. So Miller's got to wait his time.
Let's revisit these numbers between 2018 and 2019, and you can see that there's some serious numbers in there. 2018 in particular, that average, that strike rate, it just shows that up the order, what he's going to add to an already potent Rajasthan lineup.
Yeah. My only problem is I think we are putting a lot of pressure on this man. I mean, Josh Buttler has just got off a plane. He's not played a match. He's been in quarantine with his family. And now you're saying, guys, we're playing 4 batsmen, maybe 5, and you need to get it done. And it's a small ground. They may be chasing 180. They may be chasing 200. So, yeah, it's a lot of pressure to take first up on, no matter how good your batsmen are.
Oh, dear. Are you
There's only one thing
not
after
have
Josh
him in my
Buttler.
team?
Yeah. No, you should. You should
Okay,
have him in your team, but if you get one sentence with him before he goes out to bat, tell him we are not worried about what you do at the batting end. Please be careful with the non-strikers.
I knew that was coming at some point. It was this fixture, wasn't it? The one different.
It was.
It was
No,
the one
but with
different.
Josh Buttler, it's any fixture. He's always out of the crease. He's been out of the crease since he was playing under 19 cricket. So it's
The only difference
not much
is
sympathy.
the other actor has moved on to a different franchise.
Josh Buttler goes when he uses the crease like RWA, Resident Welfare Association uncles go for morning walks. He sort of, moment he goes out there, he sort of breathes. Here's a nice breeze. Let's talk to the neighbor. He's like an RWA uncle.
In fact, I have to say, before we get into our next segment, I have to say we've had about 5,000 different tweets and posts on the whole coronavirus and how to stay safe. And I think one of the ones that really was up there was that photograph of someone out of the crease saying, "Stay at home, stay safe." I think it made a lot of sense.
Stay at home and stay safe is good. Don't go. If you go outside, don't complain. Stay at home, stay safe. Don't complain. Anyway, there's so much more to Josh Buttler and Ravichandran Ashwin than that. And sometimes I think we allow their persona to get exploited a little too much. I mean, I've been guilty of that myself. So,
and there's so much more to do on the show as well. So we'll move on.
Okay, that's a very polite way of telling me that's enough.
Our boost stamina meter coming up. And of course, Josh Buttler is yet to establish himself. So somebody who's featured once before, but at the end of a game. So we know that he's always going to be up there. Stephen Smith, you can look at 90.9 is his stamina score. He's just behind Manish Pandey and Francois Duplessis. And you can see all those names down there, people who are very involved in the game, who, as you can see, the overall rating, last match rating, very important. We featured him on that. He was on the pitch for 111 balls, importantly ran for 57 of them, 52 singles and 5 doubles. Of course, the boundaries will come, but he wasn't the one when it was raining sixes from the other end. He was the one who was just nurdling it around at times and making sure the other batsman comes. It means stamina is important, Harsha.
Of course it is. And someone like Smith, who's not the most casual 6-hitter in the world, his game is built around hitting the gaps. I'm in charge of the smaller ground. He might hit more 4s there. I think he hit 4 6s last time as well in the last game. But his game is not built around the game that, say, a Josh Buttler has, or a Samson has, or a Rahul has, those kind of players. So he will have to do a lot of running. When he moves to Dubai, he'll have to do even more of the running. So, yeah. So what does this mean? Samson continues to bat at 3, which is a good sign. I hope he has a good season. I mean, we've talked about Buttler, talk about Smith. I hope Samson's got a good season, but he's batting second.
Yeah, we just saw a brief glimpse of that, and we can come back to those numbers. And we've talked about our boost stamina meter. That is, of course, Stephen Smith, but Sanju Samson, Joy. Everyone in Rajasthan, fans alike, would want a repeat of what we saw the other night, the Sharjah Storm, the Samson Storm, as we called it.
See, also, the way I think Rajasthan has to look at it, and I'm telling you, Rajasthan is a team which has a lot of weaknesses. Stokes not coming there is, changed their balance a lot. They have these 3 games at Sharjah. They have big hitting batsmen who can possibly take advantage of it. They have to maximize this. So Steve Smith will be telling them, things may get tougher in Dubai at the other end. Samson, you guys need to just deliver me for 2 more matches. If we go 3-0 up, I think we have a very good chance of, qualifying for the semi-finals. So they're going to be very, very sharp about it. And this is the problem with Samson. He's always started well. He's always looked really good at the start of the tournament. And then somehow his numbers have dipped. And it's paradoxical because, talent-wise, form-wise, he just looks so very good. One of the reasons could be as the pitches get more tired, because he's a man who times it effortlessly. Perhaps the ball doesn't come on that well, once the pitches get a bit lower and slower and tired late in the season. But I think he's too good a batsman to allow that to stop him over time. I think the important thing is that for him to learn and get better over the years, he's now at 25. He's at the peak. Next 3-4 years, he should really make it count. If Sanju Samson doesn't play regularly for India, it's a shame given the kind of talent he has.
Harsha, are we reading too much into that last graphic in terms of great starts and then falling away?
No, we are not, because we've been watching Sanju Samson as a very, very high quality IPL player for a long time, but he does stale away. And there is this little fragility to Samson. You didn't see the fragility when he was unleashing those powerful shots, but there is that temperamental fragility to him, and he's got to overcome that. If he overcomes that, look, nature's made him in a good mood and said, here, Sanju, go and bat. But he's now got to overcome that inconsistency, and that is why consistency, longevity, these are factors that don't get talked about as much in the game. Consistency is such a big factor, and if he can get it, and look who he's with. He's with Steve Smith, who understands consistency better than anybody else. So yeah, we'll see. We can talk about him a little bit in the second innings as well. I'm more interested in the other guy who's everyone's talking about but hasn't got going yet, and which is Nicholas Pooran. I wonder if he's going out to bat and he's got these images of Gale in front of him saying, me, Pooran, taking Gale's place. Oh, okay, better do well.
Well, I think if the opposition knows Pooran well and they figured him out in the first game, he's got that little weakness against spin, particularly off spin. Get a good off spinner against him early, and you'll find him fragile. The time that the opposition in the CPL, the one game, they didn't have a quality off spinner, and there were quite a few in that tournament, he got 100 of 45 balls.
Look, there's as many off spinners playing the IPL as there are planes flying in the world today. If you find one, you just look at it and say, oh, good, we saw one. There are no off spinners playing these days. So there's Murugan Ashwin, Ravi Bishnoi, there's Shreyas Gopal, Rahul Tewatia. There are no off spinners playing, which is sad actually. It's a good point to see. When Gautam plays Ashwin, when Virat gives Washington the ball, Washington.
Nabi.
That's about it. Nabi. Yep. So, I mean, there's here and there, but very, very few.
Yep. So what about our picks? We promised you, now that you know both the 11s, you've got your team sorted, but it's still a few minutes to go. So time to make a last minute change. And if you think you need a tip, this is our My 11 Circle trump card for today. And our trump card today is Rahul Tewatia, right? Despite his performance last time around, you might be thinking, should I still put him in? I've got in Butler, I've got in Smith, I've got in Archer, I've got in Shami, but do I get Tewatia in? The answer is an unequivocal yes, because he can contribute with the bat, and we saw what he's capable of with the ball, and he is part of an endangered species. So, Joy, fair point to get him into that team quickly.
No, absolutely. It's fair point to get him into the team. I think the interesting thing is the fact that what interested me was, Rajasthan did what was expected in the bowling department, which is that they took out the spinner and put in a fast bowler, because this is an unforgiving pitch for spinners. But the fact that Punjab went with the same lineup is something that I find absolutely fascinating, because two spinners on such a small ground, and it's not that they don't have fast bowlers sitting in the bench. There's young Ishank Porel, there are a couple of other boys there who can bowl quick. So it's interesting. Somewhere Kumble has said that at this point in time, the winning chemistry and team chemistry matters more. These guys will deliver it for me no matter what. My big worry is on a pitch like this, when say Rajasthan bats, some of Shami is the kind of bowling he was doing, some of those edges will go for 6. Given the kind of speed at which he's bowling and the kind of penetration, he's going to get a lot more of those, holding his head and saying, that could have been a catch, because that was a catch at Sharjah.
It's interesting. It's the same size of the ground that a lot of us, when we were younger, used to watch games at. And we remember that ground as good for batting, but we don't remember that ground as one where people outside the ground are in danger. That tells you how the modern game has changed, in that it's not just the bats. I mean, it's easy to say the bats are bigger. It's the modern player is so much stronger than the earlier player. I mean, you just look at Russell and you say, hi, Andre, but social distancing is fine, but I'll say hello to you from a distance. Kumble said something interesting too, which might explain their selection. Kumble said, the last thing you want to do is go to the ground thinking it is small. You just be positive, back your plans and play well. On Tewatia, if you want to pick Tewatia today, I think you want runs from Tewatia, because he's the 6th bowler. in the side. So you might not see that much of Tebati with the ball. You might see him more with the bat as at maybe 5 or 6 as a finisher.
But yeah, logically, at least it gives you both the options. The quick one, I know Anil Kumble's probably answered that, but if you were part of that coaching staff, when would you unleash Chris Gayle, assuming you've told him this X number of games he's going to play? If not at Sharjah with...
Yeah. Joy, what did you do?
I would actually tell Chris that, Chris, you know what? You are a special weapon. When we need you, we'll pull you out. Right now, we don't need you. Your body is 40 years old. Enjoy yourself. You know, we're going to need you this season. You're going to be 3 or 4 times. You're going to go to you. Right now, relax. Keep your body in shape. Just keep yourself fit, and be the same. Because there's no other way to play it. Kumble is not he's not a conjurer. He's not a prophet. He'll not know. But there will be a point in time when he'll say, okay, Chris, you need to go and do it for us.
Yeah, it
doesn't be a fly on the wall on that conversation. Be a fly on the wall in that conversation.
Chris Gayle doesn't need a second reminder to go out and enjoy himself. He's had his birthday recently, 41. But let's focus on the 22 gentlemen who are out there, and also on some of our fans who have been writing into us very passionately on hashtag AskCricbuzzLive. What's our question for the day that we've selected? And this one comes to us from Anurag and says, Jaydev Unadkat leading wicket taker in the Ranji Trophy, but wicketless in the UAE. Why has he been unable to reproduce domestic form? I mean, we tend to be very demanding, but in context of this tournament, Unadkat has been lethal a couple of seasons ago, and likes in Sanju Samson's graph has tailed away a little bit.
I think predictable a little bit because that slow ball is now his stock ball. So I think people can set up for the slow ball and they know 4 out of 6 are going to be that. But also he used to be a brisk pace. So he's actually bulked up over the last 3 years. So I thought he might have that 138, 139 kind of ball, but maybe a little predictable. Maybe also the quality of batsmanship. He's a very good bowler in domestic cricket, but in domestic cricket, maybe slightly slower pitches, I don't know, which help him. Maybe quality of batsmanship in the death was not quite what it is here. So these could be 2 factors that come to my mind.
Yeah, Joy, we're going to talk with the numbers as well as you talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I've known Jaydev very well. He's a wonderful young man, and he's a very intelligent young man. So you would never be that Jaydev Unadkat, he's deliberately not doing anything. Jaydev, I think, is caught in that very strange situation. He tried to bulk up. He's very fit, very dedicated towards practice. His problem is he started as a 125 to 128, 129 bowler. Okay. And he tried to become a 140 bowler. Somewhere his body mechanics don't make him a 140 bowler. The problem is if you're stuck then between 125 to 135, that's actually killing ground. As they say, the middle is dead. You can get away with slower stuff, the Rajat Bhatia kind of stuff, the Kieran Pollard kind of stuff. You can be fast. So his problem is which side do I adjust to, which is not a problem that he has in the Ranji Trophy. So there he bowls with his 125 to 135. People are not going out there to, slaughter him and try and get a huge amount of runs. Here he's stuck in between. And as Harsha said, that his stock ball is that Katori ball, that sort of fastest, he's basically bowling a leg cutter. And that basically is not possible. Under these circumstances, they're picking him up. Also, there's so much video being watched nowadays that it's very difficult to think. But I'll tell you one thing, he will have his uses. As this pitch gets lower and slower, and people will find it difficult to get him away. And that's where his real use is. He's not going to get wickets because he's going to beat people with sheer pace and spin. He's going to get wickets because people are going to try and cart him all over the place, and they'll hit him to the boundary fielders. That's how he's going to get wickets.
You know what I think? But quick one before we finish on that. I think he's now 1 of 4 quicks at this side now. So he might not be the death bowler today. He might be he might bowl the middle overs.
Okay, we've got very little time left on the show, and I think I'm going to go straight into quiz time at the moment. That's something we eagerly look forward to, and that is our joy factor question, where the standards have actually gone through the roof.
It's ridiculous. Joy is taking revenge.
Yeah, but we don't mind. Honestly, we don't mind, Joy. Are we keeping to the same thing? Because yesterday you bowled up a bit of a loosener.
No. This one is this is what I call good luck. This is what they call test match runs. Here goes. Okay. This list starts with an England and Yorkshire player and currently ends with a Bangladesh player. That means this list could be added to later on. Sachin appears thrice on the list, all within 6 months of a single year. Okay. Rohit Sharma is the last Indian on this name on this list. What is this list about? It's obviously an international cricket list. Starts with an England bowler, England and Yorkshire, ends with a Bangladeshi, currently ends with a Bangladeshi player. Rohit Sharma is there, Sachin's there, thrice, all in the same year.
Yeah, interesting. Points to ponder as we wrap up this show, but there's still one very important part of the show we have to remember. The My 11 Circle Badge of Honor. Harsha, yes, I did not miss your tweet yesterday. When the cat is away.
I mean, you won it yesterday, didn't you?
Yes.
It's like Yashasvi Jaiswal getting a game because Josh Butler wasn't there.
I don't give fuck. Go for it, Harsha. You're up first. Score at the end of 20.
Actually, sorry. I was thinking 3 times Sachin, so my mind was elsewhere. 197.
You're going big. You're going big. It is Sharjah, of course. We can expect something big. Joy, are you heading in that direction?
201.
Going even bigger. I'm going to go just a little bit less. I'm going to go with the same score I went with yesterday and got it horribly wrong, which is 188. 188. A good start. They'll pull it back, but it'll still be a good enough score for that total. So 188. What? Yes, go ahead, Harsha.
If you got it wrong, how did you win? If you got it wrong,
No. I won with the 6-over score in the chasing innings.
You won the Little League. The Little League. Okay.
No, that's it. I've had enough of this. Thank you,
if
gentlemen.
you wear the same trousers on both days, you get in the same bus, everything, the same thing happens. If you go the same score, everything happens same.
I will take advantage of the fact that I can sometimes dictate when we finish the show, and I'm dictating that right now. Very politely saying thank you very much, gentlemen. And we'll see you in the 10th over with Cricbuzz Combox. And we will also see you with the same 3 gentlemen on My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live at the halfway stage. For now, thank you for watching. Go away.